Support the legislation that's pending in Congress now, the Chesapeake Bay Clean Water Act. Would that give you more tools?
For the most part, I think it is fair to say that EPA has not exercised all the tools it currently has. That is not to say that there are places where our regulatory authority is limited, and the jury is out, I suppose, on whether or not we will have to eventually look towards additional authority. I feel as though there are things we can do right now that would provide a necessary and important regulatory backstop for states who are really shouldering the brunt of the burden in terms of producing results here. So I would say I am not sure that we will additionally need more resources, but much will be learned over this coming year as we work through this watershed implementation planning process. Because the net is already there between local government, state government, and federal government. The question is, right now, for me, on a regulatory level, where those regs are going to have to be developed and implemented and enforced. If we all work together, there is a net that, in theory, works. It hasn't worked until up to now on the two biggest problems that contribute to non-point source pollution, quite frankly, the development issues, runoff, stormwater runoff, and then runoff from agricultural lands. And I think your second question was about the legislation that has been introduced. EPA has said, the Obama administration has said that we support the need for additional legislation and the principles embodied in that legislation. The specifics of the legislation and language itself, we have not taken a position on, only because we've put out the fact that we believe that legislation has to include additional authorities for the federal government so that we can truly be more of a backstop if it can't be done on the local or state level. And of course, there are funding issues involved in that legislation, which the administration hasn't taken a position on. So I think it's fair to say we believe that additional legislation is a very good thing and have endorsed that idea.
Now, the two governors on either side of you there have written a letter to the administration asking for $365 million additional revenue. Is there any prayer of getting that kind of money there?
Well, we're in the budget development process right now, and there are clearly lots and lots of outstanding needs, as well as some imperative to look at the deficit. The president has made all those options clear. I think it is fair to say that all of us have committed and been vocal supporters of making sure that when you line up needs, we talk about how important it would be to see funding for states, especially to be able to carry out the work. What we're learning from the success stories, and there are success stories in the watershed, and what we're learning is that they are fairly resource intensive. They don't always come from EPA, they come from partnerships that involve, in the case of agriculture, county cooperatives and state government and EPA working in partnership, but they require resources. And not one of us, I think, can say we have all the staff we need to get out into that watershed like we'd like to, so that we can do as much on the cooperative side and less on the enforcement side, knowing that enforcement is available as well.
One more question? Yes, please.
Hi, John Heltman, Inside EPA. Mr. Jackson, you said that it would, sorry to make you turn around. You said that it was going to take some creativity to address sources in terms of within the authority that you already have. I was wondering if you could be a little more specific in terms of what exactly you have in mind.
Well, we know what works. What we have to do is find ways to reach communities that, quite frankly, need to know that at the end of the day, EPA will enforce. But there are lots of places where, for instance, EPA doesn't have enforcement authority, yet states have been very active and have made tremendous progress. In the case of cover crops, for example, states like Maryland have really made progress on getting the word out for the need for cover crops, but we need to find creative ways to get that message out and have people take advantage of the programs that are right now out there and available for funding. So we need to find ways to reach a target audience that whose first reaction, quite frankly, might be, please go away. And to make them understand the tremendous opportunities in saving the resource. We need that. That's the kind of creativity. And quite frankly, we also need to have the backstop of enforcement if we can't bring people to the table cooperatively. So we're committed to both. It is, I keep saying that we are partners, but we are also partners in accountability. And we understand that part of EPA's role is the accountability end of this, because in stepping up with the executive order, President Obama has been clear that he wants to see results. And I just have to say, you know, to David's question, you know, one of the biggest differences in 2 years, I'll still be here, you know. And so you're talking about a very different scenario. An EPA administrator who's not going to be able to say, well, you know, that's a worry that won't catch up with me. We are on a path now where in a year even, I think we can expect people to have a very transparent way of acknowledging whether or not we've done what we said. So we'll see you soon, I suppose. All right, thanks everybody.